You know that feeling when you check your bank account and, for once, you don't instantly close the app in panic? You actually smile. You're not wondering if you can afford that coffee, or if buying groceries means eating ramen all week. There's a financial milestone where that feeling starts to change, and it's way lower than most people think. You'll hear gurus say you need $1 million to feel wealthy, or that 6 figures is the magic number. But they're missing something. That first major turning point can be $20,000, and once you hit it, your relationship with money can change completely. I'm Sum, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some people build wealth almost effortlessly while others stay stuck paycheck to paycheck. So if you want to understand how wealth actually works, instead of just hoping your finances magically get better, hit subscribe. Now think about what comes to mind when you hear building wealth. Maybe it's some trust fund kid who never had to worry about money. Or maybe it's someone grinding for decades, saving every dollar they can. But wealth building doesn't really work like that. There are certain financial thresholds where the game starts changing, and $20,000 is one of the first big ones. Think about pushing a huge boulder uphill. At first, it's brutal. You're pushing hard, barely moving, and wondering if you'll ever get anywhere. But once that boulder reaches the top, gravity starts doing the work. That's what $20,000 can feel like financially. Before it, you're fighting the uphill battle. After it, your money finally starts helping you. And the crazy part? It's not just about the math. It's about your brain. When you have basically no savings, your brain goes into survival mode. Every financial decision becomes, how do I make it to the next paycheck? You take a job you hate because you need the check. You stay in situations you don't like because quitting feels impossible. An unexpected car repair? Huge problem. Laptop breaks? Disaster. Rent goes up? Your whole month is cooked. When you're constantly worried about survival, you don't have much mental space left for growth. But once you build a real financial cushion, something changes. You start thinking, how can I make this money grow? Instead of reacting to every emergency, you can start planning ahead. Even a small emergency fund can improve your financial well-being. And once you build several months of living expenses, you have something even more valuable: breathing room. Now let's talk about the math. Say you invest $1,000 every month and average an 8% annual return. Getting to your first $20,000 takes roughly a year and a half. That's a lot of discipline. But your second $20,000 doesn't take the same amount of time. Why? Because now your first $20,000 is working too. You're still contributing $1,000 a month, but your existing money is generating returns alongside you. That's compound growth starting to kick in. And the bigger your portfolio gets, the more your money starts carrying the workload. At $2,000, an 8% return is only $160. Nice, but not exactly life-changing. At $20,000, that same 8% is $1,600 a year. Same investment strategy, same percentage return, way bigger impact. That's why $20,000 feels different. Your money finally becomes large enough that the returns start feeling real. And there's another reason this milestone matters even more. You've proven something to yourself. Saving $20,000 isn't just about having $20,000. You had to build discipline. You had to track your spending. You had to say no sometimes. You had to stop impulse buying every shiny thing that caught your eye. Most importantly, you had to stay consistent. You proved that you control your money, not the other way around. And that identity shift is huge. Before you had savings, maybe a $4 coffee felt like a financial decision you had to overthink. After building a solid foundation, you stop stressing over every tiny purchase. You start focusing on the decisions that actually move the needle. Where you live, what car you drive, how much you save, how much you earn, where you invest. Because saving $1 on coffee isn't going to change your life. But choosing a $1,500 apartment instead of a $2,500 one, that can make a massive difference over years. You start thinking strategically instead of obsessing over every dollar. And this changes your career too. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, your job has all the leverage. Your boss is toxic, you stay. They refuse your raise, you stay. They keep dumping work on you, you stay. Because you need that paycheck. But having $20,000 saved gives you something I like to call walking away money. You don't necessarily have to quit. You just know you could. You could survive for a while looking for something better. That changes how you show up at work. You become more confident. You negotiate harder. You're more willing to take risks. And people notice confidence. Better opportunities can lead to higher income, which lets you invest more, which builds even more wealth. That's the positive feedback loop. But here's where people screw it up. They finally hit $20,000 and immediately spend it. New car, huge vacation, expensive gadgets, a house they can barely afford. Don't do that. $20,000 isn't a trophy. It's your foundation. It's the seed that can eventually grow into serious wealth if you give it enough time. Take cars, for example. A lot of people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime on payments, insurance, maintenance, and gas, and a brand new car can lose a significant chunk of its value almost immediately. Meanwhile, that same money invested could potentially grow dramatically over decades. So instead of asking, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" start asking, "What am I giving up by spending this money?" That $30,000 car isn't just a $30,000 car. It's also the future value that $30,000 could have created if you invested it. Suddenly, driving an older, reliable car doesn't feel like you're losing. It feels like you're choosing freedom. And this mindset applies to everything. Housing, vacations, education, hobbies, lifestyle upgrades. You stop asking, "Can I buy this?" and start asking, "Do I actually want this more than I want financial freedom?" That's a completely different question. And honestly, you might discover that you don't even want half the stuff you thought you did. The bigger apartment sounds cool until you realize it could delay your goals by years. That expensive hobby is fun, but maybe there's a cheaper way to get the same enjoyment. This isn't about becoming some miserable penny pincher who never spends money. It's about being intentional. Spend on things you genuinely care about. Cut the stuff that doesn't matter. And let your money work toward the life you actually want. So no, $20,000 won't make you rich overnight, but it can change the way you think. It can move you from surviving to planning, from reacting to building, from feeling trapped to having options. Your first $20,000 might be the hardest money you ever save, but it can also be the money that changes the entire direction of your financial life. So start, even if it's $50, even if it's $100, even if it takes longer than you hoped. Because your future self is going to be very glad you did.